I never thought there would be a day would come where I would have this in my hands and I'm ready to talk about Haruichi Furudate's masterpiece on the big screen. Like, it's actually happened. What is going on, everyone? Commodore last year, bringing to you guys my review of Haikyu the movie, the decisive battle at the garbage dump. I finally got around to watching the movie last night on the Thursday for the premiere here in Canada. I'm so glad that I actually got my ticket to go watch it. It was a experience to see my favorite sports series on the big screen. I know at the time when this whole movie stuff was announced, it was a bit polarizing on two different ends of the spectrum. You know, you had the side for myself that was like, yo, it's on the big screen, that's hype. But as someone who enjoys this series and, you know, the source material, the content that's in it, you want to see this be a faithful adaptation. I was really worried also at the same time too that things would be, you know, shifted into different gears, things would be moved at a different pace and stuff. But we're gonna break it all down here in my thoughts regarding the movie. Dude, the production IG, like just a little, you know, little connection there, man. I felt they did a very good job with this film. Art and animation, you know, just going through every single set, you can tell that it starts off good, but there was a lot left to be desired. Not in the sense of like it was like half-assing or they weren't putting enough in effort, but you could tell that during the early stages they were saving the best for last. And I think that was probably the best way that IG could go in there, give us a proper NEKOMA versus KARASUNO matchup, going from each set, and the quality just increasing over time. Like by the time you get to like the third set, you see like the facial expressions, the movements in the bodies, just the way everyone just going in and hitting the rallies and stuff. Like it was just so dope getting to see all that in real time. So I want to say I appreciate the art animation just being on point and consistent and just improving as the film kept on going. Sound design, the soundtrack itself, the usage of it at times. Again, a lot of the tracks has been so long since I've heard it, just, you know, out of copium reasons. I try to avoid listening to the soundtrack so I don't get reminded of the fact that my series is over. But hearing all these tracks and in the times that they are played, my god, man, it brought out like a lot of emotions out of me, like watching it. Like I had a hard time trying to keep myself intact. I had people around me in the theater just watching this film, they're enjoying it and everything, and then here I am trying not to get like teared up by a conversation between Kenma and Hinata at the very start of the film when they first like met and stuff. Like I'm just like, bro, like, this is Haikyu, man. This is what it does to me. The production side stuff as well, for the standards that we know production IG are capable of when it comes to taking care of Haikyu, but in movie form, they absolutely nailed it. The voice acting too, I didn't feel like anything stood out, you know, as like bad or anything. I felt like they really were consistent, on point with their performances, capturing the personalities of every character that was there. I felt like the way Kenma's was done was very good. Hinata's, of course, you know, in terms of his going through the struggle, being tapped in and being, you know, trying to get the better there against NEKOMA, despite how much that they were trying to stop him in that game. Going through this frustration, you can just feel it within the voice actors and stuff. Like, I think they did a very good job with that. The chance at the very beginning, you know, let's cause a mess, and just the battles that were going in from Tsukishima and Kuro afterwards going at it. You know, are you starting to enjoy volleyball once in a while? You know, sometimes, you know, I enjoy it. Like, all those things, man. The bird cage itself, the craziness of the fact of Hinata locked up in this cage, being taken out of the game by NEKOMA, and the way that production IG just goes and details everything, because we know how good they are in the anime every single week when they dissect all the stuff that's going on in volleyball, when it comes to positioning, when it comes to the plays, running screens, all this stuff that's going on. The way that they break down how they're able to stop Hinata from making the cut in behind Nishinoya to try and attack him and wearing down his game to where they actually may have a chance of winning. I thought like that explanation stuff they did was so damn good. Attention to detail, it just wasn't like out of place whatsoever. I felt like that was probably some of the best stuff they've done in a long time. Talking on the arts and animation, whew, my god. You can see throughout the film, on a slow, steady, consistent pace, as things start to progress from the first set to the second set, all the way to the last set, it just starts skyrocketing in quality. Like, you're seeing like the bobbleheads, the movements, the facial reactions from all of the characters, like from Kuro, you know, just being all excited what's going on, or just like Kenma, pure joy and just, madness that's within him, and then Hinata, the worry that's within him, like all those things in terms of like the expressions, in terms of just how I'm feeling. I just felt like I was so emotionally locked into this entire film, and just seeing everything just like moving in pace. It's not like you're just stopping in moments, you just keep going and going from there. My God, bro, like the art animation, absolutely god tier. And I also really appreciated what they were doing with some of the backstory stuff between Kenma and Kuro, when they're giving like little bits here and there afterwards of their relationship, when they got to know each other, how they actually got into volleyball, why Kenma afterwards like really starts to actually like volleyball at the very beginning in his relationship with Kuro. And seeing all of that and what it does going into the third set after, and despite the fact of how much they see what it meant to them, they also know that that bond is going to be tested against the legs of the very rivals they're going up against in Hinata and Kageyama. And despite how much that Nekoma was going in there and giving them the work, Karasuno was like, bro, there's no chance that we're going out like this. We are fighting, we are rallying, and we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure we come home with the dub. And what is easily my favorite scene in the entire film is the first person view of Kenma in the last set on the last point. Bruh, I have never experienced something the way that this was being handled since like Call of Duty days. And I know to you it probably sounds crazy saying something like that as a comparison for that moment, but if you've ever played Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops or whatever, and you remember those moments in the very beginning of the games as a protagonist, you're looking around, the attacks, the fights, all that's going on, the city just being destroyed, whatever, that was Kenma watching this entire game just go off the rails. From just fast action, he's in front of the block, he falls down, gets up, all of that. I was just like, what in the world? For XIG, I did not think this was in their game, and yet it was in their game. And it was some of the best stuff I have ever seen. Not just from Production IG, but just how an anime just handles somebody who's literally within the game. You're seeing from their point of view, watching them go through this madness, and then seeing them missing the shot. Like when Kenma, the slip, everything. Oh my god, man. That was like some of the best stuff I have ever seen in a seamless emotion when it comes to sports anime. Just stuff like that. When I see it happen in real time, it makes me believe in my heart of hearts that Haikyu is the king of sports. It is unrivaled under the heavens, and that scene there, absolute greatness. In regards to the content itself, when I get asked, do I think this was a faithful adaptation to chapters 293 to 325 that covers Karasuno versus Nekoma? Do I think it was a faithful adaptation? And honestly, I'm around like 95%. I would say like it is near perfection, but not near perfection. And you're probably wondering, what was it exactly that they probably just did that just doesn't get that 5% there for me? Honestly, it came down to a scene that got omitted at the very beginning of the film, which I honestly felt would have added so much more to what was already emotional as it is in terms of the connection we know with Karasuno versus Nekoma. Not adding the backstory between Coach Nekomata and Old Man Yukai. I was very disappointed in seeing that scene, that whole backstory was not shown at the beginning of the film, especially as the first scenes not being shown. For those of you who probably have no idea what I'm talking about, if you're anime onlys, I recommend rereading chapter 293 to know exactly what I'm discussing, because you guys know seasons 1 through 4 has set the tone for what the relationship and the rivalry is between Karasuno and Nekoma from the youth, from the Hinata Kageyama, the Kuro Kenma, the Takatora and Tanaka, like all that stuff we've been known about for 4 seasons. What the relationship that Nekomata and Yukai had, that to me sets the tone perfectly going into this match. The chants, the, them psyching themselves up, it's all great. And, you feel the passion, fighting spirit is in there. But that backstory, man, is so fire because of the fact that you get to see how Nekomata and Yukai meet each other back when they were in middle school. They built up this rivalry. They wanted to be able to face each other. Nekomata bounces to Tokyo to go to Nekoma. Yukai goes to Karasuno. They meet each other again in Nationals. They swear they're going to battle each other. It never ends up happening. They go their separate ways again. They go and take over as, the coaches at Karasuno and Nekoma. They have practice matches. They're going to face each other in times and prepare for that Nationals day. It never comes. and then they both retire. Obviously, we know a Yukai situation. He was hospitalized. He was coaching out at Little Tykes. Nekomata retired and came out of retirement. Now he's back at Nationals. That scene in the hospital of Yukai where he's like, I have no regrets because my blood is out there on the court. He settled his stuff there with Nekomata way back then, but he's like, don't worry about it. My grandson's out there. He's going to get that W. You get that moment after where, you know, Yukai comes in there afterwards, gets the handshake in with the old man, and you see old man Yukai getting up and trying to do the handshake as well. When you're missing that key part that should have been at the beginning of the film, I felt like for me, because I read in the manga, the added emotions were still there, but it wouldn't have reached the peak of like pure sobbing if we had gotten that stuff that was meant to be there in the first place. I don't know what the reason was for Production IG not doing it. You know, maybe it's just the fact that, you know, just time constraints, or maybe they just felt it wasn't needed. But for me personally, it did add a lot to this match, reading it in the manga. So not getting this animated, I felt was probably the biggest disservice that we had gotten in the film. Getting to see the post-credits scene at the end of the film, because obviously we know the end result of it, which means that we are getting in the next round, Karasuno versus Commodore. Hoshiumi versus Hinata, a matchup that I have been so amped to see finally go down to decide who is truly the new little giant. Oh my god, I was so glad that they actually had that as the ending part of the film after the credits, and it obviously tells me that this should be the focal point for the next movie. But I do stress and hope that after the way that this film was handled, I am hoping that after that portion gets done in the second film, that there should be a third one covering the final arc. I just can't see it in good fortune that the matchup that we're going to see, on top of everything else that comes after it, being done in an hour and 30 minutes, I feel would be absolutely criminal. During certain parts of the film, you could also see that they were making sure that it wasn't like you had a score of like 3-2 and then jumps up to like 20-19 all of a sudden. Like during discussions, we're seeing like the coaches, the players talking to each other on the sidelines, and the points are still being tallied in the background, which is something I do appreciate that Production IG was doing in there. And it's something that helped keep the film constantly going without feeling like you're cutting through content or just skipping through the matches and just, you know, just wanting to move the pacing. The fact that they were doing that in the background, I thought that was a really dope feature there. Haikyu, the slice of battle of the garbage dump, was a phenomenal film. One of the better sports anime movies that we've gotten in a long time. It does give me hope that Karasuno versus Commodore will be done with justice, and hopefully that will be the case when we do get it animated. I don't know if it's going to be in a year, 2 years, whatever the situation is going to be. I'm pretty sure by the time we get to Jump Festa at the very end of this calendar year, we're probably going to know exactly what the details will be regarding that film. But I am curious to know what you guys think down in the comments below regarding Haikyu, the decisive battle at the garbage dump, the battle between Karasuno versus Nekoma. If you went to go watch the movie in theaters, let me know how the theater experience was for you. How did you feel about the movie itself when you were watching it? If you were an anime only, I want to know your perspective regarding it. And of course, if you're a manga reader, let me know, what was it like seeing the greatness that we read week in, week out on the big screen at last? Let me know down in the comments below. Any clarifications, any input, anything down in the comments you want to talk about regards to the movie that I didn't discuss that you felt was important, let me know down in the comments. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel because you're new here. Click on the bell, Shandora, to stay up to date with everything goes on the channel. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video. I am looking forward to talk about more of Haikyu in the future, and hopefully it will be with the next movie, so stick around for that when the time comes. And until then, I will catch you guys for the next video. Hopefully maybe about the latest installment of the Haikyu greatness. Haruichi Furudate's masterpiece on the big screen. If you haven't seen it already, go watch it. Give that man your hard-earned money. And remember, Haikyu Ichiban. Commodore Lad signing off. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care.